Everybody's joking now. The clock's run out. Time's up. Over. Blast.
From rapping,
now is our moment to start running to something,
to reaping rising poll numbers after the GOP's first debate.
I'll tell you, I'm not a politician, Brett. You're right about that.
This week, we'll talk with a presidential candidate who may be the least experienced in politics.
You have no foreign policy experience, and it shows.
And you know what?
Is building both a following and a message that's gaining attention.
Let's say you're elected president. What are the first executive actions you'd like on your desk?
Don't mess with America's moms.
When presidential candidates show up on your stage, it's a sign a movement has momentum.
Wow, did you guys ever expect it was going to get this big this fast?
I did. We don't have any time to waste.
We talk with the two women behind Moms for Liberty about their efforts and success in putting parental rights back in America's schools.
Most agree that rising number that represents the national debt is a ticking time bomb. 50 years, we've gone from $500 billion to $32 trillion. How do we ever dig our way out of that?
We are in big trouble right now.
This week, the number too large to ignore in the upcoming presidential election.
Welcome to Full Measure. I'm Sharyl Attkisson. We begin today with our first in a series of 2024 presidential candidate interviews. Vivek Ramaswamy is a 38-year-old businessman who's never held political office. He got a biology degree from Harvard, a law degree from Yale, and built a billion-dollar fortune in part on a drug development company he founded. He says he's looking to attack systemic government corruption, eliminate numerous federal agencies, and change Washington, D.C. as we know it. We caught up with him in Iowa, where the first 2024 Republican primary votes in the nation will be cast in less than 4 months.
Let's say you're elected president. What are the first executive actions you'd like on your desk?
Well, the first thing is I want to rescind a lot of the old executive actions that have been wrongfully taken. Take Executive Order 11246, an executive order that created race-based quotas in the private sector, that require any government contractor, that's 20% of the U.S. workforce working for such a company, required to adopt these toxic racial quota systems. I'll take a pen and cross it out, something that no president has actually had the spine to do. But one of the things I want to get started on very early on is cutting the size of the federal employee headcount. That 75% headcount reduction, we're going to get started on day one. So from the FBI to the U.S. Department of Education to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to other branches of government or other branches of the administrative state, I'll be shutting them down using executive authority to do it and on strong legal, principled, constitutional foundations. And I think I'm the only person in this race or in, frankly, modern presidential history who has offered that level of clarity on how we'll actually get that done.
Prior to Republicans winning the House of Representatives, they promised that if they won, they would do something immediately and very strong to handle CDC, the mistakes that it made, the misinformation that it put out during COVID. Nothing really meaningful has happened. We're now facing more talk about a COVID resurgence, masking, mandates. What do you make of that, and what's your position on it?
My position on it is a lot of times with the Republican Party, we see a lot of talk and no action. Actions speak louder than words. But it's going to take somebody who's an executive outside of government who also actually has a deep understanding of the law and the Constitution of this country to be able to see that through. That's part of what gives me my sense of purpose in this race. But incremental reform is actually a formula for, in some ways, the worst of all worlds, where you give people the appearance and expectation that something's going to get done, when in fact you're in an even worse situation than you thought you were signing up to be in. The Department of Education is larger and spends more money now than it ever has. The CDC's overreach has now become part of a pattern of precedent that we've set in this country as they're taking further steps in that direction. That's what changes on my watch.
Did you say something like you're the only Republican candidate who's not bought and paid for?
I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this.
Certainly, I was the only person on that stage for whom that was true in a meaningful sense of that word.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean for that is, look, let's just get really honest. Let's level. One of the things, a question that somebody asked me early in this campaign is, how do you know you're not just saying what your biggest donor told you to say. And I said, you know what, that's the way the game works. I am my biggest donor. I put over $15+ million of our family's hard-earned money into this campaign, and through the end of this campaign, I am fully confident I will remain our campaigns and our entire efforts' single largest donor. So by definition, I am not bought and paid for by anybody else. The other candidates in this race, it's not their fault. It's the fault of a broken system. It's really a habit of super PAC puppetry that we have in the Republican Party. The super PAC game, it's a farce.
If I understand correctly, you made a great deal of your fortune in the pharmaceutical-related industries.
That's correct.
How do you posit yourself as somebody who's not a pharmaceutical industry insider with the interests of Big Pharma?
Well, first of all, I understand how the game is played. But second of all, you got to look at the details of the companies I've built. Calling my biotech company and calling me because of that part of Big Pharma is like the equivalent of calling Rumble part of Big Tech, just because it's creating a competitor to YouTube. And I say this as somebody who was an early investor as a private company in Rumble before it's staged as a public company today, because I believe in challenging incumbents through the market. Well, I took on the bureaucracy of Big Pharma too. One of the problems with Big Pharma is that they have soft coordination to say that there's certain therapeutic areas where they've just decided they're going to abandon it. And the FDA drives a lot of these decisions in the shadow of their decisions too. I view it as corrupt. But what I said is, you know what? Many of those medicines do deserve to be developed, even though pharma had abandoned them. One of them, it wouldn't be an approved therapy today if it weren't for me and the company that I founded, and I'm proud of that. It was a life-saving therapy in kids, where 100% of kids who are born with a genetic disease, if they're not treated, they're left to die by the age of 3, 100% of them. And now a majority of those kids, if they're treated, have opportunities to live lives of normal duration. I'm proud of that, as well as the drug for prostate cancer, or women's health conditions that had been ignored, like endometriosis or uterine fibroids. Yes, I'm proud of that. But that's by taking on the bureaucracy of Big Pharma. I then took on the bureaucracy of the ESG industrial complex. I've taken on big tech through my writings and some of the other investments that I've made. But now I'm going in to take on the biggest bureaucracy of all, that is the bureaucracy in our federal government. I'm battle tested. I have a track record of success. That's frankly what it's going to take for somebody who's up for this task, not somebody who's grown up within the business of reading talking points from a binder from GOP consultants. That's not going to get the job done.
You called President Trump the best or greatest president of the 21st century.
Yep.
Which really only means better than Bush and Obama.
And Biden.
And Biden. Where does he stand if you count the 20th century presidents in your mind?
Well, I think that then, look, you're then entering a different era. And one of the things I often say is, as Lincoln said, the dogmas of a quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The challenges we faced in 1980 are different than the challenges we face in the year 2023. So I think Trump was unambiguously a great president. No doubt about it. But we can't just aspire to normalcy. We have to aspire to excellence. And to take our America First agenda to the next level, we're going to have to reunite this country. And I think I can reunite this country in a way that no other candidate, not just Trump, but any other candidate in this race, no other candidate can. That's why I'm in this race. We're reaching young people, bringing them along in droves. I'm the youngest person ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. I'm doing it as somebody who has lived the full arc of the American dream and can speak to that.
You're 38, right?
I'm 38. And I'm not moved by vengeance and grievance. I am moved by gratitude to this country.
If President Trump were to come at some point and tap you on the shoulder and say, would you serve under a Trump administration, or would you run with me, would you consider either of those things?
So here's what I would tell him. I think that we're going to have to work together, all of us, to revive this country and play our respective roles. And I would love to work with him. The capacity I see it is that I'll be the next president. That'll put me in a position to reunite this country. But especially during that first year in office, he will undoubtedly be my most trusted mentor and advisor in the White House. That's, I think, the relationship we need to have. That'll put me in a position to win in a landslide, to reunite this country, but also make sure we don't have a standing start and understand where he left off so we can take that America First agenda far further under my watch.
Would you pardon President Trump if you got elected? And
yes.
I think you've made a statement about some of the January 6th suspects.
So I'm going to pardon on day one, not on the last day, which is what many presidents wait for, on day one, anyone in this country who has been a victim of a politically motivated persecution or prosecution. How do I define that? If someone else under similar circumstances would not have been prosecuted or was not prosecuted. That's evidence of a politically motivated prosecution if it's based on political views. So take Julian Assange. He sits in a foreign prison in exile, while Chelsea Manning, the government official who leaked to Julian Assange, had her sentence commuted by President Obama because she's transgender. That's a disparate standard. Julian Assange gets a day one pardon.
Edward Snowden.
Edward Snowden gets a pardon under my watch. Now, that would be technical about the terms we use. He would get clemency. He hasn't been prosecuted. But I think that exposing the unconstitutionally flagrant violations of a government, especially after he has already served in some ways for taking that risk, deserves to finally move on with his life, and so our country can move on with our own national life. And yes, in that category, Donald Trump absolutely will get a day one pardon under my watch, because these are politically motivated persecutions. And my standard is, how do we move our nation forward? That's what I'm focused on. So on January 20th, that's what I'll be doing. Restore one standard of the rule of law, put into motion shutting down the FBI, such that on January 21st, I'm not worried about the Trump family or the Assange family. I'm worried about every American family. But we have to get that right on January 20th, my first day, so that on January 21st, we can start on the rest of the agenda.
We'll be hearing from other Democrats and Republicans, including Donald Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. One note, we've been asking Joe Biden for an interview since 2019 and are still hoping he'll agree at some point. Ahead on Full Measure, two moms whose movement has gone national. Across the nation, parents are pushing to wrest control from school systems that they claim are overreaching, whether it's advancing a transgender agenda or pressing critical race theory that some allege to be racist. Two Florida moms who started a grassroots movement have seen their star rise. Lisa Fletcher catches up with them on the national stage in Philadelphia.
The solidly Democrat city of Philadelphia might not seem the best place for conservatives to choose for a meeting.
I want to welcome everybody here this evening.
But for the group Moms for Liberty, the birthplace of American democracy is an ideal location, fitting their mission of helping parents defend their rights.
We are honored to present you with this Liberty Sword.
On the left is Tiffany Justice and her friend Tina Deskovich. They started Moms for Liberty just 3.5 years ago. When we first met them, the organization was still relatively small, operating out of a newly rented office in Central Florida.
And we do not co-parent with the government.
Then the two former school board members talked about why they got started.
We're about parental rights. Every parent has the fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children, their medical care, their health care, their education.
That's a message that took hold as COVID restrictions swept the nation. Chapters of the group soon formed in dozens of states, members attending school board meetings to express their frustration and anger.
If this continues, we will look back and be responsible for the dismantling of the greatest country in the world.
It is time to stop the division and stand together for our kids.
Fast forward to this summer, as members gathered in Philly for their convention, it was clear how powerful they'd become as a succession of Republican candidates came to meet them.
And I think what we've seen across this country in recent years has awakened the most powerful political force in this country, Mama Bears.
Even the man leading the race was there to try and win their support.
In school board races, PTA meetings, and town halls across the nation, you have taught the radical left Marxists and communists a lesson they will never forget. Don't mess with America's moms.
Their group's star power has meant the founders are new stars of the conservative movement.
If someone is demonstrably harming our children, we are going to come together to fight to protect them.
We are in a fight for liberty. We are in a fight for the future of this country. It doesn't look like the fight 250 years ago, but make no mistake, this is a fight. America needs you right now. America needs courageous people.
Wow, did you guys ever expect it was going to get this big this fast?
I did. We don't have any time to waste. And our children are struggling in schools, and we're watching that happen. And every year that a child continues to either be locked out of a school, right, or to be indoctrinated in schools is a stolen year from them. and it has to stop.
We've had a lot of successes this past year in Florida and South Carolina and 10 or 15 states around the country with parental bill of rights, transparency bills in education. So it's still very local, but they're working to impact at all levels of government.
But right from the beginning, Moms for Liberty has been a target for those on the political left. Opponents have accused individual members of bad conduct and hateful speech. A North Carolina chapter reportedly showed up at a school board meeting with members of the white nationalist Proud Boys. In Indiana, a chapter used a quote from Adolf Hitler in its newsletter, for which they later apologized. And several members have been accused of harassment, including one in Pennsylvania, fined $200 for multiple harassing Facebook messages. One of the most consistent criticisms is that Moms for Liberty wants to ban books.
Curating the content of a children's library is not banning books. You wouldn't have the same books that in a medical college that you would in a seminary.
How do we feel about Moms for Liberty? Moms for Hate?
On the streets outside the group's meeting, we found a small but loud gathering of protesters.
We're here to protest Moms for Liberty. We have 18 active chapters in North Carolina. We know that they're spreading their hate and their propaganda and their bigotry across the country. They're a threat to our public schools.
The Southern Poverty Law Center recently branded Moms for Liberty a hate group. Southern Poverty Law Center, their judgments are not without controversy. But what they said is that you're extremists, that you're advancing an anti-student inclusion agenda, and they said that you're seeking to undermine public education holistically and to divide communities. Are you extremists?
This is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. They titled us, they put us under the subhead of anti-government extremist group. My answer to that is we endorsed in 500 school board races last year. We won 275 school board seats last year. We are taking part in our government. We are going through the process exactly how we were meant to go through the process to advocate our values and our vision of what we want to see for America.
Moms for Liberty say they are often the ones facing harassment, pointing to their Twitter account being shut down and Facebook blocked. For a time, PayPal froze their assets, and their opposition petitioned the Marriott to cancel their convention. When Justice appeared before Congress earlier this year, it was to directly accuse the Biden Justice Department of targeting parents who speak out at school board meetings.
1 minute, you're making peanut butter and jelly, and the next minute, the FBI is calling you. You answer the phone, and they want to talk to you about your comments at a school board meeting last week. Do you have any guns in your home? Do you have a history of mental health illness? Oh, and by the way, don't tell anyone we called.
Perhaps the biggest sign that Moms for Liberty are now at the center of the political debate, the 131 media outlets that covered their convention. Where does this go from here?
Continuing to grow. More chapters, more joyful warriors standing up and telling the truth all over the country.
We know who we are. Our moms in that room right now, they know who they are. Right. You can call them all the names in the world. They will not stop fighting for their children and for the future of this country.
And despite leading a conservative national movement, Deskovich and Justice say they're too busy to consider running for office themselves. For Full Measure, I'm Lisa Fletcher in Philadelphia.
When we come back, a growing obligation that some say is a ticking time bomb. If you and I consistently spend more than we make, we're probably going to end up in trouble. The federal government just adds on to the national debt. After a huge bump in COVID spending, the nation's current debt is now around $33 trillion. That's closing in on $100,000 each owed for every man, woman, and child in America. More from Scott Thuman.
Our national debt has never been higher, and it keeps on climbing. Interest payments alone cost the U.S. nearly $4 billion a day. To Maya McGinnis, president of the nonprofit Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, some belt-tightening in Washington is way overdue. What may appear out of control is the national debt. In 50 years, we've gone from $500 billion to $32 trillion. How do we ever dig our way out of that?
We are in big trouble right now because the norms of fiscal policy are exactly what they should not be. There are times it makes sense. When we are in an emergency like COVID or a huge recession, we absolutely should borrow. There are times when it does not make sense, like the huge growth spurt we had before we went into COVID under President Trump, or the inflationary period we've been having since COVID under President Biden. It's going to mean that we aren't able to be prepared for the next crisis.
So, in your eyes, have the last two administrations both overseen out-of-control spending?
Yes, they have. And the truth is that Republicans and Democrats like to cut taxes and grow spending. The bigger issue, though, is neither of them is willing to make changes to the existing problems. We have automatic growth in Social Security, Medicare, other health care programs, and now interest on the debt, which are leading to huge structural imbalances that are only going to grow going forward. Neither party has been really willing to take the measures and address all of the policies, meaning every part of the budget, that we have to get that budget rebalanced and the borrowing under control.
The presidency could be one of the hardest jobs on the planet. I think we'd all agree with that. How much harder is the job going to be for whoever's elected in 2024?
This next president is inheriting a very challenging fiscal situation. First, we just got through the debt ceiling, and luckily we were able to avoid default and put in place a package of savings, the largest package we've seen in over a decade. But that debt ceiling is going to come along again pretty soon after the new president takes office. I am very concerned that it has come to become such a political hot potato, and there's such a fight over it and a willingness by some to default that we could really risk default next time.
But aren't we, as Americans, which of course includes our elected officials, just numb to all this kind of talk by now?
We are. I mean, I think we're all numb to all of the shouting. First off, we don't really have kind of calm, thoughtful discussions. We have a lot of shouting.
But then why be optimistic that this is going to be taken seriously?
Did I say I was optimistic? I am gravely concerned. But I am deeply pessimistic, much more so than I used to be. Because as I said before, I think the biggest problem facing us is our division, our dysfunction, and our inability to govern. If we don't get our act together, we will be a weaker country, and American families will pay a real price in terms of their economic security, their opportunities, and what it looks like for not just the next generation. I think this could become a big problem sooner than we've been thinking as things heat up around the world.
Keeping the U.S. economy out of a crisis will be a key test for the next president as international challenges continue to mount. For Full Measure, I'm Scott Thuman in Washington.
After a break, what's ahead next week on Full Measure? Coming up next week on Full Measure, our next presidential candidate interview with former President Donald Trump. Facing 91 felony charges for various alleged crimes, he's still leaving all other Republicans in the dust in the polls and running about neck and neck with President Biden. Another can't-miss interview for you next week on Full Measure. Until then, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be searching for more stories that hold powers accountable. I'm Sharyl Attkisson.